In this video tutorial, we will demonstrate to you the main viewer. The main viewer is the central part of the application, and it is used for editing and displaying the surface and volume mesh geometries and their respective selections. The main viewer is composed of the top toolbar, the central displaying area, and the bottom toolbar. The toolbars contain various function calls applicable on geometries present within the project. In our demo project, we select the Flange 2 case and show the surface mesh. By default, the mesh faces and feature edges are shown. Displaying the surface mesh faces, edges, feature edges or vertices can be toggled on and off within the visibility group of functions on the top toolbar. If one wished to hide the geometry completely, one would toggle off all the buttons. The visibility buttons are applicable only on the selected object, either a surface mesh or a volume mesh. In case the selected object is a volume mesh, the feature edges functionality is not meaningful and is disabled. The parent show mode group of functions is very useful when working with the selections. When a selection is selected and displayed, like patch 2 in our case, the remaining surfaces of the parent can be shown fully colored, semi-transparent, or fully transparent and invisible. Using those functions can especially be useful in complex geometries with a lot of patches and selections. By default, the semi-transparent mode is activated. One of the most important viewer functionalities are those related to making the selections. These can be accessed via the mouse group of functions on the top toolbar or via the context menu within the central display area. Available mouse state modes are normal, click to select, rectangle, critical angle, region, manifold, trajectory, and auto-select edges. By default, the mouse is in the normal mode, and in this mode selections cannot be done, and the mouse is used only in a rather standard fashion to move around, zoom in and out, or rotate the displayed geometries. This standard behavior of the mouse is also available in all other mouse modes mentioned before, except rotation in the rectangle mode. In Click to Select mode, one can make selections of individual facets, feature edges or vertices. The selector behavior can take one of the following three states: add to selection, remove from selection, or toggle selection state. These states are self-explanatory and are applicable to all mouse modes except for auto-select edges mode. Once a selection is made, by right-clicking on the central display area, the context menu appears with the options to clear the selection, to add or remove the selected facets to patches or face subsets, to add or remove the selected edges to feature edges, or to add or remove the selected points to point subsets. Finally, there is an option in the context menu to remove the existing feature edges. The rectangle mode is very useful when one would like to make selections of multiple elements at once via the rectangle selector. In many situations, the best way to select is by using the critical angle mode. The additional input field appears for the critical angle, which stands for the angle tolerance between adjacent elements to be included by the selector. Small angles are good for flat surfaces, while greater angles are used for curved surfaces. The region and manifold are appropriate to select elements starting from a clicked position that can be reached by walking over edges. The only difference between the two options is that in the case of manifold, there is a restriction that only those edges sharing at most two facets are eligible. The trajectory mode can be used only to make the selections of edges in a similar fashion to critical angle, whereby the angle criterion must be set. This is a very useful tool in making the edge selections when defining the feature edges. Finally, the Auto-Select Edges mode is a great tool to automatically generate the feature edges. Feature edges are automatically generated when the surface mesh is first imported to the case. However, one can use this tool to apply additional criteria in feature edges generation or to regenerate the feature edges from scratch. The feature edges functionality will be explained in more depth in a separate video tutorial. You are highly encouraged to watch this tutorial, as feature edges are a critical component in obtaining quality volume meshes. Within the Tools group on the top toolbar are the functions for activation of patch highlighting and selection via mouse clicks, the coordinate displaying, and the distance measurement. Zooming, centering, and rotating active objects can be facilitated by using the functions from the zoom, center, and rotation groups. Showing the coordinate axes and enabling or disabling the parallel projection mode can be accessed via the respective functions within the viewer behavior group. In addition, there are two useful functionalities in the same group: the function for the reduction of the level of details displayed in the viewer, and the function to maximize the viewer and hide all other GUI elements. The second one is especially useful at times when working with complex geometries and making selections thereon. On the bottom toolbar, one can find the widget for adjusting the transparency level of active objects, the clipping plane widget, and the light intensity and mouse sensitivity widgets. The user can set those parameters to his own preferences. Especially useful here is the clipping plane widget, which allows for thorough inspection of surface and volume meshes. This functionality applies to the active object, which can be a surface mesh or a volume mesh. The origin and normal of the clipping plane can be manually set, or one can choose among the set of predefined clipping planes parallel to the coordinate axes. The clipping plane can be shown or hidden. It can be dragged back and forth along its normal, and the normal direction itself can be altered by using the mouse. Clipping is done by clicking on the red scissors button, or automatically in case autoclip mode is on. The suggestion is to use the autoclip mode only for surface meshes, as this functionality can be prohibitively computationally expensive on the large volume meshes. The clipping plane can be reset to its default position by pressing the Home button. Finally, there is one last function to be mentioned in this tutorial, which is Center Here. It can be accessed via the context menu by right-clicking in the central display area. It is useful when zooming in and inspecting certain geometry parts. Thank you for watching this video.